Hello, Bill Molyneux here for Bill's Wargame World, and well, we had a mathematical error on the American Friends of Lafayette for the YouTube money. Turned out to be $206. So we're going to quickly just say, American Friends of Lafayette, my YouTube money is going to you, Robert Kelly in Gloucester, Virginia. And we have made arrangements to make a video there on March 15th. Goober the Traveling Bear will deliver the check. So, our next project is going to be helping Weiss Fork Battlefield in Kinston, North Carolina. Our March, believe it or not, March is already getting packed with, I don't think I have anything free for March. If you're a historic site, we are jammed. This weekend we're at Aberdeen for the Wargame Convention. March 9th, we're at Fort Frederick. March 15th, we're at Gloucester. March 16th, we are at Jamestown. March 17th, we are making special videos for our Vietnam veterans and Korean War veterans at the Maryland Veteran Museum with Mr. Nell the historian. So, March is pretty much already packed, believe it or not, and we have a Jerusalem Mills video to make. So, if you are a historic site and you would like to have Goober the Traveling Bear visit, please let me know. We do not charge for historic videos. We do have about a 4 to 5 hour maximum drive range other than Fort Niagara and Fort Ticonderoga. So, let's get on with miniature wargaming. And we are going to complete the Fort William Henry walls today. And this is going to be another one of those crazy babble videos. Now, if you're not into babbling, that's fine. Go ahead and find another channel. And if you want to hear some old wargaming stories or crazy stuff while I paint, this is the last of the 3D printed Fort William Henry walls. So, we are going to finish these off, and then we'll flock them tomorrow night probably. And the Fort William Henry probably been, oh gosh, a 6 or 7 month project. So, something someone asked me yesterday was naval guns. Well, I was very fortunate that in one of the yard sales of Mike Priest, the famous author and historian of Antietam and Gettysburg books, had a lot of naval carriage guns. So, once I get them painted up, and according to Stuart Lilly, famous historian and saddle maker at Fort Ticonderoga, he said all my carriages should be red. So, let's get to painting and chit-chatting. Both of these sections are good, and so all I'm going to do here is do a little bit more, and then when I'm all done with this, I'm going to do a probably a little black wash on it, but it does not have to be perfect in Bill's basement. Now, I heard from several of my old wargaming buddies, Eric Turner. Eric was a major. Now I guess he's a warrant officer, but I always thinking of him as Major Eric. Now, he would drive from Fort Indiantown Gap to wargame with us at the my Gettysburg home, and he'd come down probably close to once a month, maybe a little bit more, depending on weather. Same with Bob and Cleo. They were very famous wargamers, and Miss Cleo has passed away, and Bob's health is quite poor. But, so, my buddy Jack Brendo, Vietnam vet, he contacted me, and he loves these babbling videos. He says it reminds him when he would come to my home quite often on Saturdays, and we would do nothing but work on figures and terrain on Saturday afternoons for a few hours. And so that was nice to hear from Jack. Now on my history channel, Bill's Historic Sites, Bill's History World with Goober the Traveling Bear, I have not heard from my other Vietnam veteran follower, Jack in Cumberland, Maryland, who sent Goober the Marine uniform. And I'm wondering if there's something serious. I know he has some health issues and he's missing a leg. I did get to meet him at Fort Frederick, I guess 2 or 3 years ago now. So I don't really have any way to really contact him, and of course he's in a VA nursing home. So, but we'll see what I can do. But the last I knew, he wasn't doing too good. He had to actually have a nurse set up the computer for him to watch my YouTube videos. So, and I know with HEPA laws, if I call there, they can't tell me anything anyhow. So we have another section done, and then what I'll do with this is I will take a 50% water, 50% black paint, and wash it, and then put our flocking on it. So once we get done with this, I don't know if I should hit the Viking ship or get the rest of the Raven Feast figures done, because the Raven Feast figures, all I got left to do is paint some designs on those shields, and they are ready to go. And I got to finish building the newest of the longboats. And I had somebody ask me, about why I had that printed, and I don't know. I mean, every wargamer has things they're working on, and just like I was at Josh's house, the 3D Printer King, and he had the 3D printer machines. He has them all over the basement, as you see in my videos. There's a whole mess of them in a cabinet. I think there's 3 in there. Besides the string kind, those are the resins with the ventilation and all. But he had a ton of beautiful 54mm buildings for Sheriff John. And if you remember Sheriff John in Broome County, New York, his father's 92, and he has made me some beautiful armor. And I desperately want to get the Panther into a battle soon. The Nashorn he made for me kept getting blown up, but we had one Battle of the Bulge game. It did really good. It stayed in the woods and would come out, fire, and go back in, and so that was but for the most part, the Nashorn did not do good. But he made me a beautiful Tiger 2 with snow camouflage and SS. I think they're SS Germans in it, and then the Panther is just the yellow camouflage. Beautiful Panther. So I am sort of curious if the next thing I should put on the Wargame table. I have the Hawks Wargame Convention. It's a one-day event, and it's called Cold Barrage. And it's I'm running the Wacky Racers with Dick Dastardly and Muttley, and I think Frank half a dozen HMGS people are coming. I think several people, I think Frank asked to be a particular driver. And I don't know. I felt like doing something totally off the wall. Something really easy to set up and take down. So now my Raven Feast stuff will be ready to go to the Virginia home, I think this week. And then we'll work on setting up the big table here for, well, I'm going to want to put the Fort William Henry together soon. It's about, I think, 10 feet long. It's to scale at 54 millimeters, so it's really, really big. And I might have overdone that and having Josh build it to scale like I asked, but we'll see. And if you didn't see how I glued this styrofoam together before, I used liquid nails rather than a lot of other type of glues because of the chance of it melting the styrofoam. So the Wargaming Club in Gettysburg, I have about 5 or 6 years worth of the newsletters on our Facebook site, Maryland No Stress Miniature Wargaming, on Facebook in the files section. They were produced in mostly all by a famous author and historian, Elwood Woody Christ, who I talks about quite a bit. He was my best friend in Gettysburg. And he passed away way too early in life. But he wrote, I guess, a couple hundred newsletters. And he would take pictures, put the rules in the newsletters, and pretty much a blow-by-blow battle action report. It would take him hours, and I used to get worried he was spending too much time on them, but he really enjoyed working on them. So it's a shame they're not being I don't know if I could put them on YouTube in a way and just flip through the pages and narrate a bit. But that'd probably be boring to many people. So I got some feedback on the Wargame rulebook reviews and also the game review stuff. And I forgot I had Dennis Bishop, famous professor and wargame designer himself. At one point, he, I think, King of Scotland, East Africa wargame, I think had somebody did a review on that wasn't all that positive. And I asked him what he thought, and he said, when you are a game designer, you want to, check the reviews, fix mistakes and things, but you can't take them to heart because it will crush your will to want to keep creating. And, as people say, and I mentioned this before, you're not always everyone's cup of tea. There are people out there that may not enjoy your particular war games or whatever. So, but I am very grateful to anyone that's listening to me as I paint this wall section, and then we'll go and do the Viking shields next. And one of the reasons I'm just making this video is I've had more and more people saying they work on their figures. So George in New Jersey, for instance, and I think it was, I forgot if it was Brad, somebody else sent me a nice note. that they working on figures that they weren't going to work on. They were actually watching TV, and he was watching YouTube of me, and it got him to get off the couch and go in the basement and work on some figures that he bought at Historicon prior to COVID, which I had to laugh, and that he still had stuff from pre-COVID days not worked on. So I'm and of course my videos aren't edited, and I only have a couple thousand subscribers, as of course you know, and I'll never be like many of the other YouTube channels with super edits. And to be honest, I'm 60 years old, and I'm amazed what I can do already. I'm very happy with my history channel. My history channel, I've had college professors and homeschoolers and teachers contact me that they're using my videos. And one of the other things I'm quite proud of is the amount of Vietnam and Korean War vets and people that had relatives in the different conflicts that are very happy that I'm hitting, not just the French Indian War and Civil War, but also the lesser known, War of 1812 isn't necessarily a covered war for us here in America compared to, I guess the Civil War and World War II are, World War One. The end of the month is the end of Black History Month, and I hope some of you took time to watch a couple of the Black History Month videos. I learned so much from the historians that helped make those videos. The Fort Frederick ones, the school, the different ones of the schools in Gloucester, Virginia, the Medal of Honor, the only Medal of Honor recipient in Gloucester, Virginia, African American Civil War soldier. I mean, a lot of history there. So, all right, everyone. I have the brown paint out. So you know what I think we'll do? We're going to grab the Viking longship. And where the heck is it in the camera? There it is. I'm going to pause the camera. Let's take a look at that. Welcome back, everyone. I have the Viking ship here. We're trying to line up the camera. And that's why we use the wax paper underneath it. There we go. So our shields that have the brown primer on them. Josh made me one heck of a lot of shields. All right, so we have a little gap there, but you know what? Shield, 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 and we'll be in good shape. All right, what we're looking for is a place where I might need to put a little brown paint on here, but the spray paint worked well, and we'll gather up these shields. And I got to thank Josh again, and Jim Shaw also, for all the painting him and his granddaughter did on these Vikings. Oh, I've been meaning to say this. Make sure, and I've said this many times, but make sure if you're having eyesight issues, you get them checked out. I've had some eyesight issues. One of the reasons I don't paint good. Also, I'm just a bad painter. But turns out a coworker of mine has had some headaches and issues with their eyes, and they discovered, they went to the eye doctor, the regular eye doctor for glasses, not I don't know, a medical, I don't know what the difference is. Anyhow, they actually have a somewhat serious issue with a retina thing, and they have to go and see a specialist and stuff. And so if you are ever experiencing issues with your eyes, take the time to go and see if it's anything serious, because it is a important thing to be able to see, especially of all the senses. I think you could live without hearing, especially if you're married. All right, so that was probably not a good joke, but I mean, all senses are important. Seeing, hearing, and my nephew is deaf, and it was interesting trying to learn to communicate with him at times, and the only sign language he wanted to teach me was swear words, which was frustrating. And he passed away about a decade ago, but he did a good fight against cancer and all, and he's not that much younger than me. So, eyesight's important, everybody. So we placed a batch of brown on here. So our next project is we're going to switch over and throw some Viking shield designs. So I'm going to stop the camera. We're done with our brown paint for now. I won't flock the Fort William Henry walls till tomorrow night. So right now we'll get set up to paint the last of these Viking shields. Okay, we are back, and I'm aligning my stuff up, getting a brush of some type, and we're just going to throw some designs on these shields. And I have one out here. Hey, let's see. It looks like everyone can see. Now, I know that the big HMGS Wargame convention is coming up, but we also have a small convention after the Hawks in a couple weeks called ScrumCon in basically right on the suburbs of Washington, D.C. You actually go into Washington, but just a snippet. I was going to run a game, but due to issues with my wife and all, I decided that I'm not going to run a game there. And one of the reasons, same with Historicon, I'm going to help with Jim Purdy's gigantic Pickett's Charge game. So if I have an issue with my wife, I can immediately get home, and if we have a problem, because I did have issues last year. All right, so we put a black dot in the center, and this figure goes over here. All right. So I don't know a lot about the Viking Age. Okay? So, however, the figures from Mark's play sets, I never had a Mark's play set of Vikings. And Andy Fetish, who lived across the street, and yes, his last name was Fetish, and he had a Mark's play set of the Knights and Vikings and the Tin Castle. I had the Fort Apache. So the I would put a yellow dot in the center of that. But, you know, I find it funny how the current generation walk by my table at times, and they are sort of amazed that I'm running games in this scale, and they, you know, of course it looks really bizarre to them, especially if you're into Warhammer or under 30. You didn't even grow up with Mark's play sets. They didn't exist. So who else is going to Historicon? Leave a comment. What are you going to run? Are you running a game? Because Historicon, I know some people don't like Historicon at the Lancaster Convention Center. And I gotta say, it's sort of a pain hauling stuff in and out. Okay? Especially when you're doing 54 millimeters and you're dragging giant forts and things in. But I have to say that there are benefits to it also. And once you sort of get used to where to park, where to unload, the helper people that do help you, it's not so bad. It's just getting over that initial learning curve. Now, the Lancaster host or the Wyndham, you know, everyone's, you know, going there for 30 years. I know that many people really would love to be there all the time, and it's quite well situated. And boy, yeah, what I liked about the Lancaster host was you could get a cheaper room around the corner. Don't make fun of my shield painting abilities. I'm not, it's true. I'm a terrible painter. Also, I have a bit of problems with what's called double vision and macular degeneration. So I can't paint for too long without getting headaches because I have to concentrate. But it's not the end of the world. But the Lancaster host, I think, many people's favorite place. And the one nice thing, we're coming up on the next anniversary for HMGS, and I don't know what the board is planning, if they're going to do a beer thing and sheet cake. I know the 25th anniversary, they did a big party with a giant sheet cake and beer and all kinds of stuff. That was a long time ago. And no idea what the current board people are thinking of. So hopefully they will come up with some great ideas for the celebration of HMGS. What do you think of these Viking shields I made out of buttons? This one could have used a little bit more putty in it, but it is what it is. Heck, these are going to my house in Virginia to be on a campaign on the sun porch. They'll probably never see much action of other than a relative or something that I can say, hey, play Raven Feast with me and I'll show you how it plays, and it won't be I have gotten my wife to play some games. She has gone to Hawks events and has played. She likes A Gentleman's War Rules a little bit, by Howard Whitehouse. She likes those because they're sort of slow. You know, the units move slow, and so she does like those. But she is not a war gamer. Now Shelby, Steve's wife, she is a pure war gamer. She built the Fort William Henry, and so our shields are coming along. Now, who out there, leave a comment. Has anyone downloaded the free rules from Little Wars TV and tried them out? You can even use cardboard counters. And I've been trying to make sure I mention that I know many of the Little Wars TV people and all, but I have not affiliated with them. I've had a few people get confused or whatever and don't want to have any hiccups there. So I went with a half moon thing there. So we only have a couple more to go, and so my plan will be to take these to Virginia. Yeah, I think it was, I forgot, it might have been Claude Bailey who said to do a table outside on the deck like I do here at times in Baltimore. But I also don't know how bad my mosquito issues are going to be. I'm right literally on the Chesapeake Bay. So that could be an issue also. I have to figure out how to paint this dragon head. It's painted gold on the Playmobil one I got from Mr. John's Gettysburg Miniature Shop. Boy, adding this just a little bit of color to these really helped. And it's there we go. This really helped a lot. So I was asked to make to come and visit a Fort Delaware on the New York-Pennsylvania border, sort of near Scranton, north of Scranton, not far from Monticello, New York, 60 miles. So we will look at going there to make a video for a historic site. And Fort Dobbs in North Carolina is on my radar this year. We couldn't get to it last year. And then Weiss Forks Battlefield in Kinston, North Carolina. Because if you're still watching this video, you are actually making a donation to that battlefield. So all the money I make from YouTube from now until, I think we're doing till June 1st, is going to go to that battlefield. They're trying to put a major highway exit and intersection there. So we're going to see what we can do. You know, if we can raise a couple $100, it's more than what they had. And I'm really proud of how well I've been doing on the donation stuff. I'm trying to make a small difference. I'm just one old guy with a teddy bear coming up with an idea to try to help promote awareness of historic sites and and get some donation money. You know, the Goober coffee mugs, t-shirts, and hoodies, and I'll make a video of them. Also coming up, Wendy, who's producing them, she did make that cool Goober video also. But I'll make one of wearing, you'll get my wife Lisa, who hates Goober, to wear a Goober hoodie. She actually told me to order her one. So, but I gotta pay Wendy. She's down in Gloucester, Virginia, that's making all these coffee mugs and hoodies and shirts, but she is gotta make sure she gets paid for her work. And then some of the proceeds we're going to be donating to the Weiss Fork battlefield. So, and we're not charging a lot to start off with. A coffee mug is only $6, and it features Goober, of course, laying on the wall at Fort Frederick where it says, "Do not climb or walk on the walls." And of course, the Park Service had us put in a disclaimer of not that this is for amusement and obey all park signs. Okay, so what do you think? We have the Vikings. I'm quite happy with this. And Goober still got his fake check. And Robert Kelly for the American Friends of Lafayette, I've already set up to take down his money to him in a couple weeks, and we'll make a video of the donation. So we have 3 war bands, and which is really cool. And they are done. They've been. I'm not going to worry about coating these shields with a poly coat. I don't think I'm going to have a problem with them. So right now, this figure belongs with them, and this figure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, and what I did is, this whole unit, these are the berserkers. Here's our leader. I think he's called a Jaw. I forgot. I'm sorry. We have our 3D printed archers by Josh. Each archer is a different 3D sculpt. The Marks figures did not come with very many spearmen and no archers. So our spearmen have to go over here with the rocks. So, and I got the rocks out of my backyard. I didn't bother trying to order anything, and I left some small and some I had to crush up with a hammer. So there's my unit there, here, and here. So very happy. Mark's Vikings are completed. I am ready for Raven Feast in Virginia. I have my one Viking ship in the background, and then my other one here. And I think I'm going to save time, and I think I'll just paint that the head gold, the tail gold like the other one, and paint these shields up a little bit, glue them on, and I got about 25 or 30 oars to deal with yet. Alright, well, I guess it's time to say thank you for watching. I highly doubt anyone's watched this entire video of me just babbling. Major Eric, Sheriff John, Jack in Arizona, and believe it or not, I have some followers in Australia and New Zealand. So if any of you kept watching, I really appreciate it. And our next video will be more than likely the Hawks War Game event this coming March 2nd. All day Saturday, all kinds of games. Josh will be there with a really cool, like 55 Days at Peking, or a Sand Pebbles game. That's what it is, with Jim Shaw and Tim. So, I'm going to say, stay safe, be kind, be courteous, get off your couch or wherever, recliner, and work on those figures. Don't forget to visit Bill's History World with Goober the Traveling Bear and subscribe. All you're doing is you're just helping historic sites. And how hard is that? Thank you, everyone.